John, can somebody from the family come up?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
All right. Is it okay if I come up?
Oh, yeah, no.
Sure. Just not, thanks, it's just not me. Anyways, the real reason I came up here is I saw this, I've been drinking a couple beers and I saw this bottle of water up here and I've got dry mouth, so I want to get a drink of water. So excuse me for just a second. The second reason I'm up here is I have to do a rebuttal to your comments on Southern California. We drove up here from Southern California. I've been in Southern California for a long time. I met Jack. Jack and I reconnected in Southern California when he came to live with our family. And but I want to let everybody know today that we're leaving tomorrow. So we'll be out of your hair. A couple of one thing I want to say before I talk a little bit about Jack is. The last time I saw Jack was when my mom passed away a year ago, April. Jack came down and spent a week for us and did and said a lot of the same things you guys have all talked about already. But I got up and talked about my mom, and I know it's really hard to come up here, and you guys have done a fantastic job. And what I'd like to do, first of all, is just for all the people that didn't come up here, acknowledge what a great job the people did while I'm up here talking about it. So anyways, I got to talk about my mom. It's been about 20 minutes. I was about 85% done, and I was just talking about my mom, things from my heart, things that I knew, some funny stories. And I'm looking at my notes. I don't have any notes today. I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm about 5 minutes, maybe 7 minutes to go, and I'm kind of looking down at my notes, and I was at a church. And if you can imagine, like the people that are right here in front of me, it was kind of like a setup like that, and the rest of the church was empty. And getting back to being Catholic, Catholics always have somebody that's at a service. They're like for a wedding, they have somebody that's organizer at the church for the wedding. For a funeral, they have the same thing. So I'm just about done. It's kind of emotional. It's very tough up there. And out of the corner of my eye, I see this figure behind everybody else, and I'm thinking, I got to look up. So I look up. And there's the woman, funeral director, the person in charge, whatever, and she's going like this to me. and I'm sitting there, I didn't know what to do. She's actually like jumping up and down, like kind of like a jumping jack. So I had to gather my thoughts and cut my speech off quickly, and we ended and everything. So I just want to let everybody know today, I hired 3 unidentified people in the audience here today. And if anybody gets up and starts doing that, they're going to break your leg. But getting back to Jack, the connection between our family, from the Fuchs family, my mom and Jack's mom were sisters. There were 4 kids in the family. There were 2 boys and 2 girls. And I can't remember if Aunt Jean was the second in line or the first in line. Do you guys remember which? Second. Yeah, so she was second. And my mom was the youngest. And there was always this huge bond between sisters that from the time I was very little, I remember we had I was maybe 4 or 5, 6 years old, probably about 5 or 6, when we had some gatherings in New Jersey, when the families were, that's the first time I remember bonding going down to La Valette at the shore. And all the kids were running all over the place, and there was just like a ton of kids and everything, good memories. But I remember as I got older, Mom and Aunt Jean were always keeping connection, we were always getting together. And the kids, my cousins, Jack obviously one of the cousins, really strong bond. And still, we're here today, and it's always been like that. And it's because of my mom and because of Aunt Jean and kind of the love they had for each other. So it's really important that we were here today to talk to everybody. Not to talk to everybody, but to hear what you guys had to say about Jack, because your perspective is a lot different than ours. So anyways, I just have a couple stories to tell about Jack. When I was in college and I came home from college, it was the late 70s, Jack was living with us, trying to get his feet on the ground, to get his foot in the door at Hanna-Barbera, which he eventually did. And I told a couple people this already. Our house was full. We had 6 kids, and I was still living at home, and my little sister was there, and my brother was there. And it was a full house, and Jack was sleeping on a pull-out couch that my sister reminded me, we called it the taco. Because you lay in this thing and just fold up. It was uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. It was, none of us would sleep in it. We'd sleep on the floor before we'd sleep on that thing. And Jack, we didn't have any closet space, didn't have any bedroom space, but the whole time he was there, what I admired about the guy, he never complained about anything. He was always up, kind of pretty much what you guys are all saying, always, fun to be around and everything. But you guys know the rest of the story. He worked at Hanna-Barbera. He eventually came up here, and he was up here, and we went on with our lives and things like that. But I have two stories I want to share that I've always remembered about Jack, and they're kind of similar to many of the things that you've talked about today. I now know the reason. I heard a lot of people talking about Jack being a bad driver, and I can tell you one of the reasons I know that when he came up here, he didn't want to get his driver's license, and I wrote about it in the book, is that he was a horrible driver. I don't know if any of you know that. Some of you have driven with him and stuff. But Jack and I, we had a dinner at my mom's house one night, and Jack was there for it, and I was there for it, and I was living out in West LA going to school, and Jack lived in North Hollywood, and from where I lived to where he lived, you could drive it in non-rush hour traffic in about 25 minutes, and we used to get together once in a while just to hang out, have a beer, go to a movie. But this one night, anyways, we're going back, and I had somehow gotten there. I think Jack gave me a ride there and was giving me a ride home, but I needed a ride home, and we were driving home, and we were about maybe a mile and a half from the house on this one street called Anza, and it's just kind of 30 miles an hour. You're trying to get to the freeway so he can take me home. And like I said, we were only 2 or 3 miles out of the way, getting on the street on Anza, and all of a sudden, boom, somebody rear-ends us. And I'm driving shotgun, Jack's driving, and Jack goes, "Hey, she hit me." And then all of a sudden he's standing, he's driving the car and everything, and I turn around, Jack's got a little 5-speed Ford Fiesta, and in those days, those cars it was about half this, it was about 6 feet long. So anyways, she takes off and is running away from us. And Jack goes, "She's leaving us." I go, "Jack, let's get her." So anyways, we go up to me. She turned left, we're following her, he turns left. I'm rolling down the window. I go, "Jack, come on, go faster." He's only going like 30 miles an hour trying to catch her. But anyways, we pulled up next to her, and it was right out of a movie. He goes, "What should I do?" I said, "Cut her off, cut her off." And so anyways, we get up there, we cut her off. And we get out of the car, and he goes, "What do we do now?" And I said, "Well, we got to go over to her and talk to her, So we're rolling down, she rolls down her window was already down, and I go over there, and I could tell in just a few seconds that she was on either medicated or had been drinking or something. It wasn't making any sense. And so what I did is I was trying to reach in the car to get her keys out of her car, because I didn't want her to take off, I didn't want anybody to get hurt. But so I was able to do that. We called the police and everything. Long story short, the police came, but during the interim, she had locked herself in the car, and I had her set of keys. She pulled out an extra set of keys, ran off, and escaped. But by the time that happened, the police had come. We got her driver's license. Long story short is, I was telling Jack, you got to do this because you got to get your car fixed. He got his car fixed, and she was only minor damage and stuff. But it was a funny story because Jack was just like, she hit me, and then she goes, "What do we do?" And we went off. We used to tell that story. It may not be as funny as you, but it was always yeah, not that funny. But it was a great story, and we always used to reconnect about it all the time because we'd embellish it and everything else. But Jack that day he was a horrible driver. He was just going to let her drive off and not have to have any responsibility for it, and I couldn't allow that to happen. All of the things that have been said here today, it just makes my heart really feel good. So from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank all of you who put on such a magnificent celebration for Jack's life. So thank you very much.